Hi, in this section we're going to talk about why we at SRI and our clients around the globe, and hopefully you in this course, believe that innovation is critically important to countries, to universities, and enterprises around the globe. Today, much as the world has changed in the last 40 years with the invention of the PC, the invention of the internet, the invention of smartphones, we believe at SRI that we're just at the beginning. We're just at the beginning of the next era of innovation, that the pace of technology, that the pace of innovation is only going to accelerate in the next 2 or 3 decades. Much as that's true in the area of human biology, where with genetics and the discovery of the human genome or the decoding of the genome and the investigations into stem cell technology and what that may bring to biology and medicine, or in the area of computer science, where we think by the year of 2030, you and I will be able to go to the local electronics store and buy a computer that has more computing power than the human brain. Or in the area of agriculture, where we're now able to grow more and more crops in a limited area of land and produce higher yields. In all different areas of human endeavor, we believe the pace of innovation is accelerating. Now, as you look at that opportunity, which we really believe is very exciting over the next several decades, governments are wrestling with how do they move their countries forward. They're trying to figure out how to move their countries from being resource-driven economies that may be based on oil or palm oil or copper mining or things like that, to the next stage of being an efficiency-driven economy, which is one where manufacturing is key. And that's obviously what's been driving much of the Southeast Asian economy and China over the last several decades. The goal, according to the World Economic Forum, of every economy in the world is to get to the highest level of achievement, which is an innovation-driven economy. And so as SRI has been working with governments around the globe, we see that in all these different countries, people are trying to move up that stair step and get to innovation-driven economies. Now, as part of that, one of the key players in any innovation-driven economy is the university. And as the president of Harvard has said, the role of the university has been evolving. It's been evolving over the last several centuries from where it was 3 or 4 centuries ago as a bastion of knowledge, a protector of knowledge, to where it evolved to about 200 years ago, where the primary role of the university became education and teaching young people the knowledge. About 100 years ago, the universities moved into a role of being the primary source of research for societies around the globe. And today, what's happening at MIT, at Harvard, at Stanford, at Cambridge, at the University of Tokyo, is that universities are now becoming the engine of economic growth. The inventions that are coming out of the labs that the professors are driving, that the grad students are involved in, that innovation, those inventions are being turned into innovations and really fueling economic growth for the next several decades and centuries. Now, as all of that happens, another challenge that's been going on is, as we've all seen, big companies are really trying to figure out how do they innovate to survive. And unfortunately, there have been lots of examples of big companies that have not been successful at making that transition. Eastman Kodak, Nokia, BlackBerry, Sun Microsystems, these were all multi-billion-dollar companies that don't exist anymore. And so the research and the studies show that the average lifetime of a Fortune 500 company, which used to be 100 years, they used to stay big for 100 years, now, on average, those companies only stay big for about 10 or 15 years. And so the challenge for countries is to innovate to grow their economies. For universities, it's to innovate to take their knowledge and drive economic growth. And for companies, it's to innovate or else they're going to die. And so we believe that around the world, things have changed, that the primary driver for every country, for every economy, for every society around the globe has to be innovation. And the competition here is global. We, SRI, have delivered these 5 disciplines of innovation workshops in over a dozen, maybe 15 countries in the last year and a half. And whether it's in Malaysia, Taiwan, Japan, Chile, Brazil, or Scandinavia, all across the globe, people are wrestling with this common question of how do we manage innovation better? We know it's important. How do we manage it better? And what we hope to share with you over the course of this workshop is a process for managing innovation. Because we believe that somebody can get lucky once. You might invent something once and be really lucky at turning it into an innovation, a successful innovation, and having a success in the marketplace. However, we believe, SRI believes, and our history has shown us, that if you want to do innovation repeatedly, successfully, year after year after year, on a continuous basis, you actually need a process to be able to manage that innovation. And what we hope to share with you in this workshop is exactly that process. And in the next section, we want to take you through an exercise on defining innovation and start you on the road to developing a process and implementing a process to manage innovation in your organization.